Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. I'm Jesse, and today we're going to deploy our app. So if this is the first time watching, just a little recap. We are on day 8 of a project. We're building a web app game. It's just a very simple math game to help children who are new at math learn addition and subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we built out basic functionality, really basic UI, and I'd like to actually deploy this so that I can start testing it with my kids and you all could check it out and play it, or give advice on what should be the next set of updates, without having to actually pull down the code and run it locally. So that's the plan for today. We're going to deploy. Before we start, I just want to give a shout out because we had another pull request. Sidou, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It's Sidou. So let me know how to pronounce that if you're watching, or if someone knows how to pronounce that, because I'd love to get it right. But we had a pull request, and it's a restart button. So we didn't have a button. Once you won the game, you had to manually refresh the page to go back. Now we have a restart button, which is a great idea. So just want to go through this really quickly just to bring everybody up to speed on what's changed. So in our app.js file, we now have this handle restart function, and that just dispatches an action. Okay. And here's the actual button. So just a normal React Native button. It even has the accessibility label, which is awesome. And when you press the button, it just calls that handle restart function. All right, and then that triggers the action here in our reducer, our app reducer.js. Right, and that's going to change our state at some point, restart state. So we have our mode and our operator. So remember, the mode is whether it's like multiplication, addition, whatever. And then our operator is the actual sign that will appear in the UI. All right, so that's awesome. I've already merged this pull request. So if you're trying to follow along, definitely do a git pull. Update, or if you forked, update your fork, because those changes are now in there, and that's what we're going to work with today, and hopefully what we're going to push. So I see a lot of people are in chat. What's up, everybody? If you have any questions, I'll get to those after our first break. So it looks like there were some questions. Some of them got addressed by other members of the community here, so I think we're good right now. Somebody just asked for a link to this repo. It's in the description to this video, along with some other links to some of the tools I use, some of my social media accounts, my YouTube channel. So I try to put every link that you might want from the stream in the description. So check there first. If it's not there, then by all means ask, and I'll put the link in the chat or put another link in the description. I'm going to start my timer. So when this timer is going, the 25-minute timer, I'm mainly just going to be focused on the code, and I'm not going to glance over at the chat often. Once the timer goes off, I'm going to go back to the chat, and I'm going to try to get through as many of the chat messages as I can within like 5 minutes, and then we'll go back to the code. Today we might not. We'll see. I don't anticipate this work going longer than one 25-minute period, and the rest can be for questions, but you never know. I could mess something up, and it could take a lot longer. So that if you've seen my previous streams, then you know that messing stuff up is a frequent occurrence on the streams. Let me check. I was just checking the stream health quickly before I got started. I don't want to get into anything if y'all can't actually see what's happening. All right, so here's our app, right? I just want to verify that things are working before we deploy. So let's just go through a round and hit that restart button, and then we can deploy. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I still haven't implemented the enter key to be able to work here, and I keep forgetting to do that. So if somebody wants to make an issue in the GitHub repo about that right now, then that would be awesome. Otherwise, I'll try to remember to do it this time. All right, we got that one right. I keep trying to hit enter. I know it doesn't work. All right, so now, cool. It says victory, and we have a restart button. We can restart. Yay, and it goes back. Awesome. Now let's check out deployment. So I don't know if anyone remembers when we first started this project, we used create React app, and it's like in our package JSON. This might look familiar. This is like the standard create React app package JSON. The only thing that we've added really, I think, is React Art and React Native Web. Everything else is exactly as it is normally in create React app. So I thought, hey, we probably could just deploy this like any create React app. So I've gone to the create React app docs, and I went to the deployment section, and I'm going to scroll down and get to some of our different options. So you can see we can do Azure, there's Firebase, but we're going to try GitHub Pages. Okay, so I considered a few other options for deployment, but I think GitHub Pages will be nice because it'll keep it all centrally located in GitHub right now. And this is a nice feature like to demo because this costs nothing. It's pretty simple, and it's linked up to your Git commit. So every time we push to master, it will update our GitHub pages. So I think that's probably the simplest way to go at this point. Alright, so a few changes we need to make. We need to add this home page, right, to our package JSON. So let's just copy and paste and update a bit here. So we can add this wherever we want. I'm gonna add it in right here. So we have a home page, and this is, I gotta replace it with my username. So Jesse R. Weigel, and then the name of the app, which is Battle Math. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna double check that I named the GitHub repo the same thing though too. Yep, Battle Math. Occasionally I'll have the project folder locally be named something different than the GitHub repo, so always worth a double check. Okay, so that's step one done. Can y'all see this font? Is it too small? Let me know. If it's too small, I'll make it bigger. You can also go here if you want. I'll put the link in the chat right now if you want to check out these docs yourself. So it's whenever you run npm run build, you'll see a cheat sheet with instructions on how to deploy to GitHub Pages. Okay, cool. But let's add our deploy scripts, right? So we need to add GH pages first of all. So it's a package, right? So let's go here to our terminal. Yarn add GH pages. So we are using Yarn instead of regular npm for this project. So I prefer Yarn, but regular npm will definitely work. Alright, cool. So now you can see we have GH pages as a dependency. And we need to add some scripts. So we're going to add a pre-deploy and deploy. Which, this is going to come out weird because of that plus sign, but we'll deal with it when we get in there. Pages, deploy. Okay, I was just reading what this said down here, and this is only for GitHub user pages and not project pages. So we should be good with just this deploy script. Alright, so let's add these. I'm going to add these here at the bottom. Let's do that. Okay, so we have our pre-deploy, which just runs our build, right? And then we have our deploy, which will actually use GH Pages and deploy. I'm assuming build here would be trying to find our build directory, right? And final step, deploy the site by running npm run deploy, or in this case we can just run yarn deploy. Okay? And since we set up that pre-deploy and everything, I believe this will save us from having to manually do a build first, right? So I think the way it'll work is if I hit deploy, it'll run pre-deploy automatically first. But let's verify that. Make sure I've saved this. Yep, and let's do yarn deploy. Yep, so it looks like it's running the build first. So now we can see we have a build folder that's appeared. What it's doing here is it's going to take all of our components and everything and turn it into a set of JavaScript files, right? And so we could, looks like it's done, so we could check it out. So you can see we have a bunch of these like settings files. We have an index.html, so this can run as a static website basically. Like you could spin up Nginx and just point it to your index.html and it would work. So all of our actual files that we made are now in our CSS and JS, and you can see they've been, so we have our map files, but we also have this, which is minified JavaScript, and this is all the stuff that we've written, but it's all kind of condensed down, right? And we could check out our CSS. This is minified, you know, CSS. It's all in one line, right? So that's all that actually gets pushed when you create, when you use React. It's just some JavaScript and CSS files, just like that. So it's pretty cool. Now we have another step on the GitHub side of things. So we need to make sure that we enable GitHub Pages, the branch. So we'll go into GitHub. It should already be. Yep, we're already in there. So let's go to the settings for this project. So these are the particular project settings, not your profile settings. So I think it's on the main page here. Yep, GitHub Pages. Alright, great. So it automatically did this, which is awesome. That might be like the default now. For some reason I remember like years ago you had to manually set it. You couldn't just default it to that, but I think maybe that changed. Or maybe I'm crazy and I'm remembering wrong, but it seems to me like at one point this was necessary to enable that, and you could point to different branches. You could still point to different branches, it looks like. Alright, cool. That should be it. Let's double check in the docs here, but I think that's it. Alright, we don't have to worry about client-side routing, at least not yet, because we have no routing going on. Right, this is all just one page. The URL does not change at all. If you did have some routing going on, it's a little bit more difficult to use GitHub Pages, but not impossible. Okay, we have no problem so far, so we're not going to troubleshoot, and that's it. Okay, and you can see there are other options, like if you wanted to deploy in Heroku, Netlify, Now. Now was probably what I was going to go with if we didn't do GitHub Pages. I love Now. You could check out like some of my earlier streams. I use it. That's a great way to deploy. Very simple. S3, CloudFront, Surge. I have used Surge before. I usually use Surge for my presentations, like my conference talks and stuff. I always do my slides as React repos, and I deploy them like with Surge. Oh, and you can publish to NPM. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that was... Oh, I guess it's not built-in functionality. So you have to use a tool. Okay. All right, awesome. Now we should be able to go here and see our site. All right, awesome. And you can see everything's small again because I didn't increase the size artificially, but let's just test it out, make sure it works. What's that? 11, 4. Let's get one wrong. Cool. 12. 6. All right, awesome. And we should be able to switch and get these crazy changes. All right, cool. So now let me put that link in the chat, and I also want this link to show up on our GitHub repo. So let's go back in here and let's provide here our website, right? And we may as well give a little description. There we go. So now when anyone comes to our repo, not only can they see our code, but they could click right here to get the actual app. Okay. So that's cool. And I mean, of course, you could put any URL you want there. You're not limited to GitHub Pages. Let's see. Okay, we still don't have. I still haven't changed the README. And let's add that issue that I keep talking about right here. Add. Sorry. What a terrible mistake to make on the keyboard. I don't know if anybody caught that. I was like, those keys are right next to each other. Add submit on enter. Enter key press. Okay. Oh, cool. Wow. Related issues. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm going to try that. Has anybody seen this? This is a new feature. GitHub will automatically try to find related issues so that you don't make like the same issue again. In our small repo, not a big deal, but on bigger repos, this is a big deal of people duplicating issues instead of looking through the backlog of issues. So, yeah, I'll definitely try that. That's cool. I'm going to submit that. Great. All right, so now we have 2 issues. And let's see. Let's check our labels. See if we can. I want to label both of these as good first issues. So they're both pretty basic. And help wanted. Okay. Oops. No, I didn't. I wanted to actually label them as help wanted. Alright, label help wanted. There we go. Okay, so I like to keep the issues labeled in the repos, and that way people who come can see what issues I would actually want worked on if anyone's interested in working on them. Sometimes people put in an issue and it may not be something that I even want in the project, but this way everybody knows, like, yes, I do want help on this issue, so it's up for grabs. And also label these as these are good first issues. They're pretty easy. This one involves no coding. It's just writing in English. Okay. Although if we want to have README in different languages, I'm cool with that too. And then this one is add submit on enter key press. So a little bit more code involved, but this is a pretty common thing that we need done in React. So shouldn't be a too difficult thing to add in. All right, let's see. Sorry about the yawns again. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. We've gotten that done without running down our timer. So I'm going to go to the chat now and answer all the questions. And we're going to see how much time we have left at that point and determine whether or not we want to code more or just save it for the next stream. Okay. Let's see. I'm scrolling all the way up to the top. Try to get through all the chat at this point. So if you do have any questions, you can put them in the chat now. I'll take, any questions fine, as long as it's not, like, inappropriate, right? Sohail wants suggestions for Python courses. You know what, the Udacity has some free courses along with paid nanodegree programs, but their Intro to Computer Science, I believe, is done in Python. So you would learn Python syntax alongside of learning a lot of computer science concepts, so I recommend that. We did have a question about, like, can I watch this even if I've never learned React Native? And yeah, definitely. It got answered by other people in the chat, which is awesome, thank you. But just for anybody else who maybe is not looking at the chat, don't worry if you don't know React or React Native or even JavaScript or anything, right? Ask as many questions as you need to. A lot of this stream is just figuring out problems, and figuring out problems is the same no matter what programming language you're using. And really, in this stream, like, we didn't even do any JavaScript stuff. We edited a package JSON file, right? This was deployment, which in this case required no coding changes. Edwin says, sup, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Rabbitwork says, what's up? Hey, how's it going? Umberto's here. How's it going? Let's see. Someone asked, what's this website? Yeah, so if you didn't catch at the beginning there, it's a game. It's a math game, which now we have it here. A basic math game for children. It's built with React Native Web, which allows you to build in React Native but run it as a web app in a browser. We will do builds for Android and iOS later on too, so those are coming. And if we can think of something else to build to, I'm open to doing that too. I actually do want to try out. There's a way that you can do a Windows 10 app, so I want to try that as well. So there'll be more deployments to different platforms coming up. Judel says, I've never watched before, so well, welcome. Thanks for watching. There's some discussion about a Windows Forms app tutorial. So Mamoon says, anyone know the React and ASP.NET full stack tutorial? Yeah, isn't there one? I thought there was a video that on the freeCodeCamp channel here that came out like that. Umberto says there was a full C# project tutorial by I am Tim Corey, but his tutorial is for a Windows Forms app. I don't know if you're asking something showing both React and ASP.NET. Yeah, actually, you can do a Windows Forms like app, and use Chromium embedded framework. So it's called Ceph Sharp, CEF Sharp, and you can basically point it to a URL with your React app, but run it as a Windows Forms app on Windows. Right, so that's possible. It would be like similar to what you can do with Electron, except you wouldn't actually have your app like packaged, right? It would be running elsewhere. There actually is a Electron.net that lets you use .NET, I believe .NET Core, but I'm not 100% sure. But it lets you use .NET and React or whatever JavaScript you want. Bundle it like an Electron app, and then run it on Windows. Can you hack NASA for me? No, I can't. And even if I could hack NASA, I don't think I would do it, because I would get into a lot of trouble for that. We had a question about what is a React Native web app. So since I just answered that, I'm going to skip that question. Hopefully, so Master asked that. Hopefully you caught the answer there. Akeem says this is first time watching. Welcome, Akeem. Thank you so much for watching. Let's see. Rabbitworks says, are you going to make this mobile friendly? Like, what was the point for React Native for just building a web app? Okay, so like I think I just mentioned this. We're gonna do mobile apps as well, and maybe desktop apps. So this is just stage one. I think in some of the earlier streams, like day 1 or day 2, I explained more about like why I'm doing it like this. So if you want a fuller explanation, then check that out there. But yeah, the web is just the first step for this project. Umberto had tried to post a link to a .NET project tutorial, and it got blocked. So I just showed that link. So if you're interested in that, scroll up a little bit and find Umberto's link. It's now visible. No Face says, how's it going? You still need to improve the colors. Yeah, for sure. We need to improve the colors. I know I said I would maybe be able to look up some color schemes, but I didn't. Things have been really busy at work and at home. For those of you who don't know, I have 4 kids, and they're all small, so 9 and under. So I obviously am busy with that, but also I'm in the process of buying a new house for my family. So we're trying to pack up everything now, and I'm talking with like banks to get a loan, and a realtor and insurance people. So it's been busier than normal. I'm also trying to be healthy, so I've been going in a couple days a week, going into work early and working out at the gym there. So I have less time than normal. So I'm trying to keep up with the stream as best I can, because I think it's a really awesome thing, and so I'm gonna keep trying to make sure I carve out some time for this stream. But I don't have a lot of time to work on this project aside from my stream time. Run says hello from Japan. Hey, how's it going? What time is it right now in Japan? Dave asked, does anyone know if these are recorded here? Yes, they are. So you can check it out. All the videos of this project are in their own playlist. I think it's React Native Web Project playlist or something like that. And then every live stream that I've ever done for Free Code Camp is in a giant playlist called Live Coding with Jesse. And I also have other live streams and tutorial videos on my YouTube channel. The link's in the description. Mustafa says Udemy has some great Python courses. Okay, so I haven't checked out any Python courses on Udemy or Udemy. I don't know how you say that. I've heard both. but I've seen some other good courses on there for other languages, so that's probably a good place to check. Um, Dave says, "Thanks for this, Jesse. Is this a series and for base foundational idiots like me know nothing about React?" Oh well, don't be hard on yourself. Um, yeah, this series, I want this. It is a series, and I want this series to be as beginner friendly as possible. Um, we work on stuff sometimes that's really beginner friendly, and sometimes we work on things that are more advanced. But I'm always open for questions. Even if you have a question that you think is just so basic, don't worry about it. I'd love to answer the question. There are probably um, a lot of other people that have the same question, either live or that will watch later. And it's good, and it's a good opportunity for me to make sure I understand the basic stuff as I explain it, right? And it helps me to realize what I don't know. If I get questions, I have no idea what they are, then I know where there are like holes in my learning, right? So I love the questions, and if there's anything I can do to help for beginners, like speak up. I mean, I want to make real projects, so it can't always be beginner level, but I still want to try to be helpful. Okay, Dave said there are also Python courses in edX and Coursera and free. Okay. MIUP, all caps, says, is coding hard? I'll say this, it can be, right? There are parts of coding that seem pretty easy, and there are parts that seem pretty hard. It just kind of depends on what you're working on. And when I first started out, a lot of it seemed hard. Now that I've been doing it for a while, there's a lot of stuff that's easy, but now there's even more stuff that I didn't even know about that is hard, right? So, um, I think that's cool though, right? There's always a challenge in programming. Um, so it's like anything. If you want to be good at it, you have to practice. So I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's because it's certainly not. It's doable for anybody, but it just takes work. Let's see. Facundo says, "Can you clean your room? It's disgusting." You can't even see it. I have a bookshelf and some tablecloths hanging up. Anyway, this is my basement, so this is not my room. It's a corner of my basement right now. So I am gonna get a real office when I move. Um, I'm gonna have space to build an office. So this is just temporary. um, let's see. No Face says, "How about have math questions moving down or across the screen, and you must answer each question before they reach the edge of the screen?" That would be a cool mode. I don't want that to be the base mode because that's like an added level of stress for people who are just learning. But I think that would be a cool like advanced mode. We have people saying hello from just all over the world, so I'm kind of just skipping those for time. But I do see them, and hello, I appreciate it. Let's see. Creative Girl says, "Hello, is the Free Code Camp curriculum the same as the Free Code Camp videos on YouTube?" No, so the curriculum is different. It covers a lot of stuff. So basically, like full stack web development is covered in the curriculum. It is. I guess we should just go there right now. So freeCodeCamp.org has this curriculum. So if you just like kind of go through a little bit, let me try to find one. I wonder if it'll let me just go into one. There we go. So like in a lot of the lessons, it gives you a little instruction here, and then you have a little spot where you can like type stuff, and it will show up here, right? So you have like a code editor, and then it live refreshes, all right? And then some of the later lessons, you actually have, what's the projects, front-end libraries. So you'll have these objectives, user stories. So you build it on your own using your own tools, right? But yeah, they're not linked to the videos. The videos could be helpful resources to learn how to do that, but they are separate programs. Good question. Valeriu, I'm sorry, I'm messing up your name. Valeriu says, first time watching this. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like it. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make it better. Let's see. It says, how long will this video be? We'll probably go for another, I think I'm almost to the bottom. Something in like maybe another 10 minutes. Let's see. Faki says P7 stands for Part 7. Project 7. Alright, yeah, maybe I should explain that. So the videos all have this, it'll have like, today's is P7D8, so that's Project 7, Day 8. So this is the 7th project that I've done on freeCodeCamp Live Coding with Jesse series, and this is Day 8. So that's another good question. So each project has its own playlist, but also if you were just looking at the big playlist of all the projects, you could easily see which project and which day of the project we're on. Quadwo says, got 4 kids too, bro. I feel you. All right, you know how it is. I love them. I love kids. I love my kids, but 4 kids is a lot of work. Like I want to make sure I spend time with each kid every day. So a lot of the time that I do have where I don't have to work is taken up by that. So it's just like yesterday I came home, and my 2-year-old wanted me to read her a book, and then my 9-year-old has been doing some like really basic computer programming and building like Minecraft stuff, and he wanted to show me all the stuff that he did, so I went there. Then I went back out and read my 4-year-old a book, and then I grabbed something to eat really quick because I was starving, and then I went and sat down and helped my 7-year-old with her math homework, and then at that point it was time to get them all ready for bed, so I did all that. So it's just it's busy, right? Like you just, if you're trying to be a good dad and spend time with your kids, like there's not a lot of time left for anything else. But again, like I love the kids, like I love being able to spend time with them, so not a complaint, just the way it is. Yo says, hello, what I miss? We deployed to GitHub Pages. That's pretty much what we did today. So if you want to see how that went, you could always check out the replay of this. That'll be available a few minutes after I end the stream. Majid says, I'm studying Unity 3D. I want help, please. I don't know anything about that, so I can't help you, but if anybody else is watching and can offer some help, throw a comment here in the chat, please. Mario says, thumbs up for you. Thank you. I appreciate that. We have a question. Not sure how to pronounce that, so but the question is, hello, can I pass my app in React.js to React Native? Is this easy? It depends on how big your app is and how much you've done. You can't, there's not an easy way to convert React app to React Native app, as far as I know. If it was a small enough React app, maybe it would be doable. Like I've done it, but I've never done it with a full on, fully developed app. Right? It's usually like at an early point in the project I make the switch. So yeah, it may be difficult to do. It's not impossible to do, but it may be difficult. On MPG says, in terms of performance, is there any bad side effect for running Python, Node.js, PHP, or other as a service in the same machine? I don't really know. I mean, the more stuff you run on a machine, like, you're gonna have performance effect, but it just depends, like, what are you running and how powerful is that machine? The Ras Boy says, is it open source? Yep. Yeah, everything we do on the stream is open source. So feel free to use it for whatever you want. I don't think I added a license yet. We should do that. Or at least let's make another issue for that. Add MIT. Add MIT license. Commit new issue. Alright, now at least I won't forget to do that. Dave says, wow, you made my day. I can't believe this is free, plus my monthly donation to Free Code Camp. That's awesome that you donate to Free Code Camp, so thank you for that. But yeah, everything Free Code Camp does is free. Hey, Niki's here. Says, good morning, or noon. What time is it where you're at, everybody? Well, where I am, it's about a little after 9 a.m. A user named Donald Trump says, "Can you?" This is a hidden message, so I guess I'll show it. Says, "Can you help me here? My son wants to learn it. DM me on my Gmail, realdonaldtrump@gmail.com. Thank you." Well, I mean, I need more details there on what exactly your son wants to learn, but. Let's see. Oh, it says nothing is in display. That's weird. Can everybody see what's going on? I think I only got one complaint about it, so let me know if everybody can see it. Donchi says it's 2 p.m. in Germany. That's cool. Germany. I had the opportunity to go speak at a conference in Germany at the end of it, so like in November maybe? I think it was November. I was in Munich. It was awesome. I really liked it there. Creative Girl says, I have a problem about the method of learning code. What's the effective way? Just following tutorials, learning on Free Code Camp, and doing the whole curriculum from start to finish is boring. Yeah, doing the entire curriculum from start to finish, I didn't do that, right? So usually, like, you do some stuff on the curriculum, you do some real projects, you switch it up with some videos, some other tutorials. Like, that's the route that I went. Like, I learned what I had to learn to get projects done, because I was freelancing at the same time as I was learning, right? So, yeah, I would say switch up your modes of learning, whether it's tutorial, like Free Code Camp tutorial, or video, or a blog post, a book, whatever. If you get too bored with one, switch it up to the other. That's totally fine. Sometimes you just need to work on a project, and just like try stuff, see if it works, look at documentation, right? Do what you have to do to keep things like fresh for you. You definitely you don't have to stick with just doing the curriculum all the time, Hopefully that helps answer your question a little bit. Let me know if it doesn't. Min says, hola, amigo. Hola. Let's see. Muhammad says, sadly, I have to go back to work. Is this going to be available later? Yes, it definitely will be. The recording will be available. James says it's 4 p.m. in Kenya. Varun says, when will the next project start? Whenever we get done with this one, so I'm not sure. It just depends on how this goes. You know, if it gets fun and we start working on it and adding features, maybe it'll go for a little while. If it doesn't seem like there's a lot of interest, then we'll figure out another project to start and to work on. It's 8:09 p.m. in Indonesia. All right, that's a huge difference. Let's see. Is it difficult going from React to React Native? So this is from Tom. No, I don't. It's not very difficult at all. There's just a few things that are different. Once you kind of get past those few things, it's very, very similar. Like your life cycle methods are the same. The way state and props work is the same, right? It's most of the core React concepts are exactly the same. Nikki says, what are your thoughts on Google Stadia? From a technical standpoint, I think it's awesome, but I'm also scared for everything it means. Like, you own nothing, everything can be monitored, etc. Actually, wow, I never thought about that. That's a good point. So, yeah, so if you haven't seen Google Stadia, look for it on YouTube. I'm sure there's a lot of videos about it. But it's like, basically Google will live stream games, not just like watching somebody else play, but you can play the game as a stream in your browser. So you don't need a powerful PC or the latest console to play the best games, you know, at high resolutions. You just basically need something capable of streaming content. So that could be a phone, tablet, television, obviously a computer, right? I think that's awesome, and I think it is really cool that you don't have to put that big investment into hardware to be able to play. But I didn't think about that idea that, yes, like, you won't own any games, so that does kind of stink. Although anymore, like, you don't really have physical. So many things are digital downloads now. It's almost to that point. Like, I mean, I know, like, technically you own it and you've downloaded it, but I don't know. For me, mentally, I'm like more used to that part. But the idea too that everything is monitored, I guess that's weird. I mean, I do take it for granted. Like, any game you play online can already be monitored, but now I suppose like even an offline game would be monitored as well. So yeah, I didn't think about that. So I don't know what I think about that, because I have to think more on that. Probably my gut reaction is like, you know what, like, what I guess it doesn't really matter if Google knows like what video games I play. But there could be some issues that I'm just not thinking about. So yeah, I guess there's good and bad to it. Let's see, HSBETE. I don't know that how to say that name, but anyway, says you're doing the Lord's work, man, with a like a fist emoji. So thank you, I appreciate that. Run says it's 10:12 p.m. in Japan. I am sleepy, but I want to watch this video. All right, that might be the biggest time difference, right? 10:12 p.m. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Dave says, how many coffees have you had pre 9 a.m. to be pumped enough to do this? Or are you an early bird? It's 12:13 a.m. in Australia. Wow. Wow, that's... Okay, so, actually, I haven't had any coffee. So, like, for Catholic people, right now, it's Lent. And during that time of the year, like, we give up something. It's been like a sacrifice, right, that we give up. So I decided that I'm only going to drink water throughout the time period of Lent. So I actually haven't had any coffee. I haven't had any coffee for weeks now. And I love coffee. And my wife makes espresso every morning, and I smell it, and I always smell it at work. But it's a little sacrifice, really. Like, it's not compared to what a lot of other people do on a daily basis, like, it's not a big deal, but it is hard in the mornings, right? Like, trying to get pumped in the morning is difficult. Normally, I would have definitely had, like, at least a couple shots of espresso. Dave says, what did you do, Jesse, to get where you are from square one? Did you have a different career? Like, do you have a blog, etc.? So I do have a YouTube channel, and I do have some videos on that channel kind of explaining, like, how I got here. So you check those out. I think I have a whole video on, like, my path to becoming a developer. So you can get a better explanation there. But, like, the short explanation is, like, I started freelancing. I have a business degree. Originally, I had a couple of just kind of like jobs just to pay the bills, right? A manager at a fast food place, a waiter. I was a high school teacher for a little bit, and then I decided I hooked up with a friend of mine who had a media marketing business and needed someone to do some like freelance contracting work. So that's how I got into the coding stuff and started getting my own clients. And then eventually got a full-time job as a front-end developer, and now I'm a software engineer. So that's like the very short version of my story. Like I said, you can get a longer version on my YouTube channel. Links in the description to my channel. Zelalem says, how about Java? I haven't done anything with Java, so sorry about that. I'm not the person to ask about any Java stuff. Donchi says, how can I get started to contribute to open source? When do I know I'm ready? You're ready when you get a pull request merged, right? Like, that's it. You know, don't try. The worst that can happen if you submit a pull request is it doesn't get merged, right? So just, if you see a project and you think like, hey, I think I can do this, I think I can fix this issue, just give it a shot. Try it, right? Like, so you don't get it merged. Like, maybe somebody will be mean to you, right? Hopefully it wouldn't happen, but it's possible. But that is the worst thing that could happen, really. And that's not that bad. So just give it a try. Maybe they'll come back and say, actually, could you fix this or that, right? And then, hey, that's awesome, because now you're getting like some mentoring happening, right? But give it a shot. Maybe you'll get accepted, and then once you get that first pull request accepted and merged, like, you've contributed to open source. You're an open source contributor. So it's definitely a scary thing to get started. It was for me, for sure. But the only way to know when you're ready is to actually do it. You know, give it a try. Let's see. Wired Roach says it's 9:16 p.m. in the Philippines. Let's see. Do you have any advice for freelancing? I'm not sure where to start, but I really want that real world experience. I'd say the best thing to do would be talk to people in your local area, even like talk to family. Just let people know that you're interested. You're interested in doing some work. If you really, really can't find any work anywhere, you could always pick a company that has a terrible website, redo their website without even asking them. Like, just do a prototype and then show it to them and say, like, hey, this is what I did, or would you be interested in anything like that? At the very worst, they say no, and you've gotten some good practice, right? You could try some of those freelancing websites. I didn't ever really had that much luck with the freelancing websites, but you know, some people do. So that's another option. But really, like, just trying to make those connections among friends, family, people in your community, that will spread, and then that, like, they'll tell other people, like, hey, I know this person that can do this work. And that's how you'll really start to get more freelance business. Aste Julian says, do you know how to connect MySQL to JSON? I mean, I don't know what the official way to do it, but I mean, basically, like, if you had an API that would accept JSON and then save it to a MySQL database, like, that's that's the way to do that. And you could pretty much do that in whatever language you're comfortable with. So I don't, I mean, like, step by step, I don't know, like, off the top of my head how I would code that, but that would be my approach if I had to do that. I would say, like, all right, let's set up MySQL backend and connect it to an API that accepts JSON and then puts the data in the database, right? Robust Misconception says, jokes aside, how long will it be until web development is fully automated? Actually, will it ever be? I don't know if it'll ever be, but who knows, right? Like, trying to predict what will happen in the future is, I mean, you're just guessing, right? Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be fully automated anytime soon. But will it ever be? I don't know, maybe. Oh, also, I skipped one. Robust Misconception says it's 1420 in North Macedonia. Okay. North Macedonia. React. Is React a bit hard to learn for the first time? I know JavaScript, but I'm not an expert. I don't think React is actually that hard to learn. It's not like you pick it up immediately, right? It takes a little bit of work, but I don't think it's too difficult. So, like, don't be afraid to learn React. It's pretty, the concepts are pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of, like, shifting the way you think about how to interact with the DOM. And once you understand, like, that you only ever change state and never change the DOM directly, then I think it starts to, like, make sense. And it's easier to reason about. So, but I'd say, like, only one way to find out how hard it is, and that's to try it, right? Nikki says, in response to the question we had about contributing to open source, Nikki says, a good way to start is to contribute to documentation. It's often overlooked and almost always appreciated, especially in a friendly environment like the freeCodeCamp.org guide. That is great advice, for sure. Mohammed says, just joined, what are you doing? We're just doing some question and answer right now. Earlier in the stream, we did deploy our web app to GitHub Pages. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can watch the recording later on. Aste Julian says, is it possible to make a web in 3 days? To make a website in 3 days? Yeah, for sure, it's possible. A simple website is pretty easy to make. It depends on what you need it to do. Dave says, on Scrimba tutorial, I saw React, but I'm not sure the benefits since it looks like JavaScript and HTML. Why learn another framework? Not joking, just confused a little. All right, yeah, that's a legitimate question. So, React definitely has some benefits, right? It's let's see. It's definitely a very different way of making websites than just straight JavaScript and HTML, for sure. Like, technically speaking, there are definitely some performance improvements and things because of the way it actually handles rendering things in the DOM. It also allows for server-side rendering, like, really easy. So if you're trying to make a progressive web app or single-page application, it's a lot easier to make that search engine friendly with React than it would be, like, let's say if you made your own, like, JavaScript web app or even using something like jQuery or something, right? So there are definitely benefits. So I guess I'm trying to think of a resource that would list them. I don't know about a resource right now, and but that is a good question. Like, why another framework, right? But yeah, there's, in general, like, I would say, yeah, like, why learn another framework? That's usually my mentality too. But I do believe that React fills it has a purpose, and it makes making web apps a whole lot easier. Like from coming from making web apps with just regular JavaScript or a bit of jQuery and HTML to then making web apps with React, it's so much easier with React, right? Things that were the source of a lot of frustration and bugs now, like, I don't even have to think about, and it just works, right? Really, really simple. All right. Ibrahim says, hey, I just did my first pull request on this project. Should I comment or something else to point to related issue? Oh, awesome. Yeah, you can add it to an issue. If you just comment with like the number of the issue, I think it'll automatically tag it. Yeah, I think it will. But anyway, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So I'll get that pulled in soon, or maybe I'll pull it in like live on the next stream. But I definitely appreciate that. Ethin Cozy, sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. It says getting advice on getting an internship as a front end developer. If I have HTML, CSS, JavaScript basics, and ES6, C, some Vim, and some Python, I would like apply. So first of all, like keep applying for internships, but also try to like network and get. So if there's any conferences you can go to or meetups or events, try to go to those. Try to talk to people that may be looking for interns, right? Like let people know. Be active on social media, like especially Twitter, and let people know that you want an internship. So that's it. I mean, sometimes it takes a while, and you gotta do a lot of, trying to connect with people. But that's definitely the way to go. Niesler says, sorry about the pronunciation, says, what do you think is the best marketing strategies to sell our web mobile app development service? I don't know. I guess it depends like on what market you're targeting. If it's just maybe like small business markets, then you could like locally go to like business groups. Like a lot of times cities have a chamber of commerce that a lot of business leaders are in. Sometimes you can convince the chamber of commerce to let you speak at one of their meetings and demo what you're doing. You could just cold call a lot of businesses, just call them up, say, here's my product. Can I get can I do a demo? Can I do something, right? Like, that's hard work. It takes a lot, but that also is a possibility. You could think about doing targeted advertising, right? So those would be off the top of my head. Those are my ideas, but I haven't been in the freelance business for a while, so I guess I'm a little bit rusty on like marketing myself and my services. So I would definitely get another opinion too. Run says, which is easier, Python or JavaScript? I don't really know. I mean, Python syntax is kind of cool because you don't really have a lot of special characters, but I don't know if that necessarily makes it easier. All right. I'm going to log in real quick to my email for work to make sure I'm not missing anything important. I'm almost done with the live chat here. Let's see. Daniel says, amazing work, Jesse. I am almost done with the full stack track of freeCodeCamp. What advice can you give to a Nigerian looking for work in the U.S.? I guess like just keep working on projects. Definitely like work on your written and spoken English. For sure your written English, right? Because people won't, if they're looking at a resume or something and they see that the English is not exactly right, like that might have a negative impact. I mean, it's, so just make sure, like, in terms of, like, the American style, right, of writing, right? Try to, like, match that. That's because I do, like, I see resumes from people from other countries, and a lot of times they're way different than what people in the US expect. So, like, make sure that you look at, like, US type of resumes online and try to match that, right? Because that can be a big turnoff to employers if they see something really different and they think, like, doesn't this person know you're not supposed to do that? Or, right? So, like, I would say that would definitely be helpful, like, as a non-coding thing. But in terms of coding, like, always be working on projects. Make sure you put it out on GitHub, open source if you can, so that people in the US can see how good your quality of work is. And then, just keep applying to, like, everything that you can think of. Don't be afraid to apply to stuff that you don't feel like you're qualified for. You never know. You could definitely get, someone could give you a shot. So just keep after it. Karthiki says, can I add MIT license on your project? Yeah, for sure. That would be awesome. Thank you. Ethan Cozy says, does experience always count? I am second year student doing software dev. I have more knowledge of languages than personal projects experience. Yeah, well, I mean, you got to think of it this way, right? Like, it's hard for a company to know your knowledge of languages. It's much easier to be able to see someone's GitHub portfolio or see the projects they did, right? So it's all about what can you prove to an employer. So you need to have something to show your knowledge, right? So that's why the actual projects and things are important. So yes, like, you may get coding interviews and stuff, but being able to even get to the point of having an interview, somebody's going to look at your resume and they're going to want to see your projects and stuff before they even think about actually talking to you. So try to make sure you do have projects. Like, I know for me, if I'm looking at resumes and I see somebody doesn't even have a GitHub a GitHub account at all, like, they don't even show it to me, like, I'm way less likely to recommend that person actually be interviewed, because I then have no idea if they really know what they're talking about, right? So that would be my advice is, at least from my perspective, that's what I look at, is, like, I want to see the code, because the code is, to me, is the proof that you actually know what to do. All right, cool. Okay, so I've gotten through all the questions, so I'm going to finish up now and get to work on some more React Native for my normal job. And I'm going to try to be back maybe Friday with another stream. I might have to go into work Friday, so I may not be able to do a stream. But anyway, keep looking out on your notifications for freeCodeCamp. I also put out messages on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram on when I'm going to do a stream. So if you like any of those social media, give me a follow on there to be able to see the messages about when I'm doing videos and stuff. You can follow my YouTube channel. I do some streams and videos on there sometimes too. Yeah, and if you like freeCodeCamp, subscribe, consider donating. We don't charge for anything. Almost everyone that works at freeCodeCamp does not get paid. It's volunteer. So anyway, and if you think you'd like to contribute to freeCodeCamp in some other way other than donation, then, let us know. Get a hold of Quincy or Bo Carnes if you want to do YouTube stuff. So anyway, have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and especially thank you to everyone who's submitting pull requests. It's much appreciated and very helpful. Yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.